Welcome
Do.
Taco Tuesday and Black History Month, where this
Mm.
episode we're gonna be extra, 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 extra black just for y'all.
Black y'all. Black y'all. Blackity,
Talking
blackity,
job
black
today?
y'all.
You gonna be talking a job? Can you dig? I like that piece.
Don't mind us. So we're
But
going to say hi, people. Hi, Caribbean Scribbles. Zakia. Ringgold. Hi. Eric D. Tulliver. I'm not going to say your last names, just in case you don't want people to. Falana. Tima. LJ. TC. PB. Deb. This is so much easier to see people's names, by the way. Elizabeth. Byron. Oh, Poeta. The rest. T, Roz, Martha, Danny, Darnisha, Jesse, Taj, Christopher, Mindy, Anthony, Kioa. I hope I said your name right. Ms. Hi, everybody. We're happy to see you guys. We're happy you're hanging out with us today. We're having a conversation. Hello, hello. Lizzie, hi, how are you? All right. I'm still settling in because I just got back. So who wants to take the reins just for a few seconds while I do my thing?
We can go ahead and kick it off. Yes, Corey. It's fine. Thank all 32 of you for butting in here as we get going. I'll introduce myself and then we'll introduce the topic that we're going to be covering tonight. My name is Angela Hollowell. I host the Honey and Hustle podcast as well as write the Please Hustle Responsibly newsletter. That was a mouthful. But this month, for Black History Month, I'm doing a daily podcast challenge. So every day this month, I will be reading from a few chapters and some books related to business and creativity and sharing those each day. So pray for me, pray for my strength, pray for my endurance. Subscribe on whatever podcast app that you love. And I can't wait to see you there and on the newsletter. Corey.
what's up, everybody? Good evening. I am the light skinned boy wonder, the beat from the east. I'm Corey Gums. I'm the founder of the Black Podcast Association, and I run Black Pod News, blkpodnews.com, a newsletter right here on Substack. There's other hats I wear, but I don't feel like talking about it tonight. So I'm glad to see everybody here. Happy Black History Month.
If I
And
say
Yeah.
we're gonna be blackety black as today, you can't say I don't feel like talking
all right,
about
you
other
think I'm
black
gonna wear
people.
I'm gonna put on my fur and wear my gold chain and get my fronts and everything, and I'll be good.
I wish I could have. Well, anyway. Okay. Um, you've never introduced yourself that way. Angela's right. Anywho's it. Hi, everyone. Yes, Michael, it is your month. Hi, my name is Michelle Jackson. I run Creators Getting Paid, where my goal is to help creators build lists that help protect their businesses and brands from all the stuff happening out there in the world on the internet. I also run a project called Square State Colorado, where I talk about all things Colorado. So if you're weirdly like intrigued by the state, you live here, you want to visit, definitely check that out. And I'm excited today to have this conversation. So we about every quarter we have a 2-hour meeting, and that was yesterday. And we'll figure out like what different topics we want to talk about. And today we're going to talk about like the opportunity that themed months provide for creators, folks in the creative entrepreneurship space, or maybe you're not an entrepreneur, you're just a creator, and you are developing projects out there. And so we're going to talk about it. I feel like Angela doing her 31-day podcasting challenge is a good place to start, because I feel like um, it's an interesting challenge to do for February. I just finished mine like an insane person for January. But what are your thoughts? Like how is it that the content ties into your challenge, and like just share whatever you feel like sharing. Rob.
Yeah. Hey, Rob. Rob is a tech podcaster, and I would love to hear his thoughts on our setup here for this like live stream. We're doing it from the desktop. This is our first time doing it from the desktop, so super excited about that. This is incredible. Hello, chocolate people. You know what? I'll take that. I am chocolate. Thank you.
I am. Thank
Uh,
you.
um, But yeah, so this is not my first time doing something around Black History Month, and it's not because I'm trying to say that Black stories are only important during Black History Month. I think there's a couple of things why Black History Month, doing specific campaigns around it, has made sense for me and probably will make sense for a lot of people. One is that it's right after my birthday, so typically from like Thanksgiving to my birthday, which is at the end of January, it's a lot of time with friends and family. It's a lot of downtime. It's a lot of time for reflection, and then being, Rob, you're watching from your TV. That's awesome.
I'm intrigued by this.
Um, but it's a time for me to rest, reflect, and see what um, things I want to pursue for the new year. And I try to do something each quarter, and February is typically a good time, especially for Honey and Hustle and Please Hustle Responsibly. They're creative, entrepreneurship focused. So in 2024, I started season 4 of my show, and I did a slate of Black entrepreneurs for Black History Month, released an episode each week, had an incredible sponsor who brought that to life. Last year, I did the Daily Podcast Challenge. Did not have a theme for it. It was literally just me saying I want to spend more time with my audience and not do interviews for a minute. I wanted to try some solo podcast formats and see what people were liking and engaging with and resonating with. So that was great. Slightly chaotic, but we got it done. And I'm proud of the quality that we were able to get out that month. When I say we, it was just me. But on the previous year, I did hire editors and producers for that slate because I really wanted to go all in on the marketing, and I think that paid off. For this year, I was like, okay, I think the daily podcast challenge is a lot of work, but it's really, really worth it. And I think it would be better if I had a theme. So I came up with book club as a theme where I'm reading books about creativity and entrepreneurship. Not the entire books because I'm not trying to get canceled or be the only podcast that's, been taken off an RSS feed. But chapters from certain books and then breaking down what those chapters mean. I think Black History Month, Women's History Month next month. I think October is Women's Business Month. There's a lot of different themed months and themed times that do really well for people, not just Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And whatever works best for you and your show, I would definitely see about how you could leverage a certain time where people are already primed to be attentive to stories like yours and ride that campaign in a way that's unique to you and your creative project. What about you guys?
Corey.
I get
Oh,
I get to mute my mic now. Uh, I dropped the ball this month with for Black History Month with it kind of made sense, right? The Black Podcast Association and Black Pod News. We kind of dropped the ball, but that's because we're in the middle of figuring out a new rebrand for the everything and just been concentrating on that. But I like the idea of themes. We are working on something for Women's History Month. I'm excited about that project. And I guess we'll be announcing that soon. But I like the idea of themes because allows you. One, it helps with the content creation side, right? Like you can you're like, oh, I don't know what to talk about. Well, if here's this theme for this month, we can come up with and celebrate or and bring up and get excuse me get content for it. I like the opportunity. Well, what I've done over the years is I like the opportunity of being able to platform other people in that with the theme. So, like for like Black History Month, gives me opportunity to highlight. Well, we've done highlights of members in the community and different shows and allow people to submit to us so that we can do it on our socials and stuff like that. We used to do. We're bringing something similar back where we would do every year. We would do like a women's panel for Women's History Month, and I liked it because it was an opportunity for women that were in our community to just take over and just talk about whatever they want to talk about without any male influence whatsoever. So I think the only male influence I had on it was I just pushed the buttons um on the platform we were using just for the lower thirds and stuff like that. But I think it gives opportunity. I think it's an easy lift for content creators to focus, if it's relevant to what they're talking about and what they're doing, to really capitalize off of themes and bring people into their content who might not normally be aware of it.
I wanna bring up something that I think maybe some people in the audience will resonate with. I'm gonna bring up 2 different things. The first one is I've always been, in the past, a person who deeply appreciated Black History Month, but was really frustrated, quite frankly, that many teams out there in the world would wait to the last minute to be like, "Oh, yeah, Black History Month. Oh, I guess we should engage and we should reach out to people at the last minute." And so I, really felt like, um, there were a lot of people who do the bare minimum, even though you have a calendar that tells you 12 months ahead that it's coming. 12 months ahead that Women's History Month is coming. 12 months ahead that AAPI month is coming. Like it's very irritating to me, quite frankly, that there's this lack of like urgency or care or nurturing or I don't know, like I just got very hostile around Black History Month, not because of Black History Month, but because of teams out there in the world, folks out there in the world who are like reaching out to me and other creators at the last minute. And I'm like, I don't do it. You guys know I don't do things at the last minute. Disregard Shmuel is exactly uh the right word to describe it. I felt like it made it difficult to do things well, actually, if you were gonna collaborate with a brand or organization. So for me, I stopped doing content around, Black History Month, not because I didn't care about or rather, I stopped doing any kind of collaborations. That's a better way to put it. If you were to reach out to me in January, January 15th for Black History Month, what the hell kind of campaign are you hoping I'm gonna do for you? Like, what quality am I supposed to ramp up in 2 weeks to get that done for you well? So I bring this up also to say that, given all of the headwinds around Black history, women's history, AAPI, uh, you know, just any kind of uh, 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 type of person that our unfortunately our administration, our government does not like. They don't want to see our history. They don't want to have these things happening. They're not excited about it. So I feel now so deeply protective, like, of the month, but at the same time, I have to, like, still have those boundaries. So within my content, what I like to do is it's a 365 day, approach. It's black all year. I love themed months, but I prefer actually themed, issues or experiences because that broadens the year out. I'm gonna give an example. When I was doing my personal finance brand, Your American Money, I did a whole thing around student loan forgiveness before it became a law, before it became policy. And I went and interviewed 13 it was like a 13-week piece of content. And it was podcast and I went and spoke to people who were for the policy and who were proposed policy and people who were against it. And it was fascinating because they never spoke to anyone but me. And at the end of the series, um, come to find out, they had a lot of like the same philosophy around solving the problem around student loans. So there are the people who are like, we don't want to forgive the loans, and the other people are like, please forgive the loans. But when I asked them, well, how do we work? How do we fix the problem so we're not in this having this conversation 10 years from now? They literally all had the same solution. So I found it really like wonderful for me from a like creative perspective, but from a having a really thoughtful and nuanced conversation was so cool. It was so cool. And so what I would say is I really prefer themes around an area of interest, not necessarily a month. It could be like there's a tension or an interest or a moment happening, and I'm curating for that. And I think it broadens the year out a lot more. I'm going to read this, Michael.
It's almost like it's like formative for companies. Like, especially at the last moment, it's like, oh, because I'm kind of like you, Michelle. Like, it's like I get requests maybe like November, December, and I'm like, what do you expect me to do?
Mm,
And I've also come up with taking the attitude of if I don't have enough time to do it, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to do any
yeah,
half ass. rush. That's one reason why we didn't do anything this month because it was like middle of January was like, okay, we got to rush to get something done, and I was just like, everybody will be all right because we're very black centered. So we're black centered 365. So I don't think anybody's gonna be mad if we don't do anything special for Black History Month. But I was just like, I rather do it right and do true to it than to just put out some content for the sake of putting out some content or working with somebody that's just basically using us for whatever performative or whatever reason they to offset their own guilt or their lack of participation for the other 11 months of the year in regards to black creators and stuff. So I'm kind of getting a little bit more hard nosed about that too.
I don't have the time for that. Like, I just got back from the mountains, I'm enjoying myself. So, usually with these last minute, like, requests, that impacts other things happening in my life, other decisions, other choices, and so, I've just been really thoughtful about throughout the year, how do I curate an experience of my brand that's consistent the whole year, and then have those moments where I can curate something really special to what, Angela speaks to quite often, you know what I mean? And so I prefer her approach where it's very thoughtful, it's well done, and to your point, Corey, I'm not gonna rush. I got 99 problems and you planning badly is not one of them. I'm not gonna, like, rush to, like, "Well, you can, like, charge them a different fee and blah, blah, blah." Fuck 'em. I'm not doing it. So
I think by doing it too, we send the wrong message, right? It's
yeah.
like, I'm willing to do this for the sake of money or whatever, and it's like you're not respecting not only just my time with it, but you're not respecting the event, the time, the
Yeah.
whatever's being celebrated at that time too. And it's like what somebody says, like a complete disregard, of the importance to to us as a culture, as well as to how you view us in your company or with your brands or whatever. So, I think, especially for creators who might be the first time they have somebody reach out to them to sponsor and say, hey, we've been watching you and we want to do this thing in like 2 weeks. I think it kind of devalues what we're trying to build, and then they expect that from everybody else in the space as well. 'Cause they know that somebody's willing to do it because they're quote unquote "desperate" or they're looking for this opportunity.
I mean, you don't have to be desperate, but you have to be maybe you're looking for a door to open. And so I think part of navigating around that is really being thoughtful about your brand and the portfolio that you're designing outside of work that you do for other people. And so, like, every moment that you have to, like, create a podcast, if you're doing video, whatever it is that you're doing, like, really sitting down and curating some really exciting work. I think a really good example of that is how, I can't believe I forgot his name. I need he was in the movie One of Them Days.
Neil,
Josh Joshua Neal or Joshua?
both.
Okay, anyway,
Oh, yeah, my guy.
he
Yeah, I
I
know what you're talking
I
about.
adore that guy. He's so talented, and he would all through COVID, he got me through COVID with his shenanigans. He would do these short and really fun and just cool video, like cool, like 5-minute dramatic uh movie experiences basically. And now he's a signed actor in movies, you
Oh,
know?
now
So
he's
like
he's nominated for NAACP Image Award.
yes, yes. So it's like do just the stuff that you want other people to pay you for, design it now and get it out. The woman who got paid $2 million for her Dr. Pepper, who is drinking Dr. Pepper? But she got okay, okay, okay. She got $2 million for her Dr. Pepper jingle that she was sitting in her car. Just design the thing and get it out. Your art, your book, your poetry, your podcast, whatever it is, if Cassandra, and if you just don't overthink it. Just get it out. That's what we're saying.
Can I give an alternative perspective to this?
Mm, mhm.
Maybe.
Please.
Okay, so Michael is clearly loving the jingle. Diet Doctor well, that's a new
What?
low.
What?
That's a
No.
no, that's a new low, Rob.
That's like
Um,
stevia or something. Ugh. Okay.
the other side of this that I will say, one is that I decided at the end of last February that I was gonna do this again. And I decided on the book club thing maybe around middle of the year, and I created a Notion doc and started planning. I had all of my books outlined by October for all 28 days. So this started months ago. And so if someone came to me now and said, "Hey, we wanna sponsor an episode," the episode's already planned. So all I have to do is create the ad read and put them in the newsletter. So I think the other half of this is, like, when brands are expecting you to come up with something boutique,
Mm,
that's at the last minute, that's a little ridiculous. But if you already have programming and a consistent cadence planned out regardless of a brand, and they want to plug into what you already have, great. They may not get the presenting if you've already sold that. They may not get, the primary ad in your newsletter, but there are ways you can plug them into what you're already doing in ways that feel organic. And I think for a lot of, especially short form creators, which I think is one of the unfortunately more popular ways for people to get brand deals right now, it's short form creators who have a format that they post on a semi-regular basis, on Instagram, on TikTok, RIP, I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but even on LinkedIn, it's people who have a pretty consistent posting schedule. And brands are like, "Can I just plug into what you're already doing? You don't have to make me anything boutique." If that goes well, maybe we do something boutique down the line. And I think for people who are like, "Well, I want to work with brands. How do I position myself to be a good fit for brands?" Um, One, if they hit you up last minute, charge extra. Number two, have a format that you actually want to get paid to do. Um, and then if you want to do something boutique, understand how long it takes and how much it costs to make. And build that into your budget for the brand. Those would just be my tips in terms of sponsorship specifically. Um, and again, Black History Month isn't the only time this happened. There's definitely a woman who's going to be talking about women's impact in the workplace or some shit next month. We know it. It's just a matter of like, is that what you actually want to get paid to do? If not, don't say yes.
yeah.
Especially if I'm not, I highlight women. I did highlight women last year. I did 3 dedicated newsletters about women creators, but I'm not trying to get on somebody's Women's Day panel talking about I have not had a salary job in, like, years, babe. I'm not the one. I
So this
don't
is my
care.
plan.
Like, yeah.
There goes my plan. Back to the drawing board.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah. I
I like
support
Rob's
you.
quote here that he shared. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Whitney Young Jr.
Yeah, and
Not the one or the two,
I think
not
a lot
even
of people
three.
just aren't prepared to that. Like, sometimes people are hard to get a hold of, and you think you're being, like, mysterious or, like,
Don't be
premium.
mysterious.
It's not helping you to be hard to get a hold of. If people can't easily find an email for you, that's not a good thing, friend. Oh, we're at
Um,
69. Hey, friends. Okay.
oh god. Let's get to 100. So sorry guys. Um, I think that by the way, does anyone have questions about this specific to the work that they're doing on their own brand? Um, I will say that we don't by the way, we talked about working with brands, but we don't have to work with brands within our content. We could be just sharing the stuff that we sell within our content. And so it could be that you know, you sit down and you think of something pretty cool to build out and design and put out in the world. And the thing that you're selling or sharing that you're selling is your product. And I almost feel like that's the smartest way to go. Um, 9 times out of 10, unless someone's really paying you well. You want to seed your content as much as you can with your products, goods, services, art, music, whatever it is, because there's so much noise. So if you're designing really beautiful work, whatever that might be, don't assume that we're remembering. Like, don't. Yesterday was hilarious because both myself and Corey had forgotten. Like, we took a 2-month break. There were things gone from our brains. Just poof, gone.
Out of sight,
So,
out of mind.
out of sight, out of mind, and that's for your product, for you, everything. So don't assume that people remember what you're selling. So you're probably way undersharing like, maybe you have an art exhibit, because I know not everyone's selling, like, educational content and whatever. Maybe you're an artist and you want people to buy your art. How am I supposed to remember what your art is if I only see it once a week, maybe? Like, you're going to have to talk about whatever it is as often as you can. And so having these themed content pieces is a really nice way to design a piece of portfolio work to put out there in the world and repurpose over and over again in different ways. What's that noise?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was like, "Somebody getting kidnapped?"
Yeah. Oh my god, help! But, sorry.
There are
Um,
70 of you guys in here hanging out with us. If you have any
yeah.
questions about brand partnerships, about campaigns that you're working on, we're happy to answer or help in any way we can. I do just want to speak on what Michelle said really briefly here. That was promoting my own work last year during the daily podcast challenge was something I did not do. The podcast hosting tool that I use is Captivate, and they do allow for dynamic host read ads. But I was just so focused on trying to get something out each day that, like, doing more was just not even, like, on my radar, and then when I looked back, I'm like, "Wow, this is, like, 3 times as many downloads as I've ever gotten in a month," and I didn't do anything to, like, talk to them about anything other than what I was talking about that day. I didn't ask them to leave a review, I didn't ask them to subscribe to the newsletter, I just completely was just, like, blanked out on that, so that's another reason I started pretty early this year, trying to determine what my pre-roll, mid-roll, and, like, post-roll ads would be, and where they would be going, so I feel like I nailed that pretty good this year, so not to toot my own horn, I'm very proud of this, but this takes, like, years of revision to, like, do something once, learn from it, try to refine it, and iterate it in the next time you put it out, if you wanna continue with a series of some kind or a campaign of some kind.
But I think that not everyone's as, like, organized as you, and so the thing I would say is this is actually what you're working towards, like, having somewhat of an editorial calendar or at least a plan of attack.
Is it me or
No, I couldn't hear either for a
Michelle?
second,
We
you
can't
cut
hear you.
out.
There you go. Can't hear you.
Oh, wow.
Well, while she figures that out, I did wanna say something. Michelle, when you come back, you can have the floor. To talk about what you said, Angela, one of the past couple of clients that I've been working with these past couple of weeks, I've figured out to solve that problem. So for myself first, let me start by myself. For myself first, what I started doing with the newsletter was, I'm gonna have to send her an invite. Um, what I started doing with the newsletter is I created templates that have my own ads for promoting the BPA within the t within the newsletter so that I don't have to keep reminding myself, and then that way, when we do get a sponsor or something, we could just switch it out, for whatever arrangement we have. And then what I started doing with my clients is I incorporate the CTA part of, like, what they're doing or whatever into what we're building so that it's becomes second nature for them as well, so that they don't make that mistake like we have over the years. Where it's like you put out content, you like, then you publish it, and then you're like, oh man, I should have added this my CTA. Or when you're going through it again, and you spent 3 hours recording this thing because you kept messing up, and then you're like, oh, I should add a CTA to this, but I don't have the capacity right now, and then you just publish it. So I'm trying to take my mistakes and learn how to integrate those. But I think where Michelle was headed was I figured out for myself to create if I create a template that I use repetitively, that would just then I don't ever forget. Like, I'll make sure that I know that it's already in there, and I've set it up on the page in different parts of the page and everything, and then that way, and then it's like what Rob said. Then we're prepared for opportunity, or like what you said, we're prepared for opportunity when it comes to just switch it out.
Yeah.
There she
Okay,
goes.
Michelle is back. Oh,
I'm gonna take my my headphones off though for that.
Okay.
By the way, just so you know, I can't see the chat from before.
Oh,
So
okay.
just
Yeah,
if
go
we
it's not persistent, yeah.
I yeah, but just so you know. Like, are they're there though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a question. Tyrone Alexander Norwood, thank you for joining us. They said, "Do people write scripts and incorporate the CTA in it?" I do personally.
I do.
I've written scripts for affiliate links that I wanted to promote in my podcast, and I've written scripts for this year. I wrote one for my newsletter. I wrote one to get people to leave a review. I wrote one for like a free lesson from one of my courses, a free lesson download. And then I wrote one for what else did I write? Oh yeah, how to get your first 1,000 newsletter subscribers. So two of those will be rotating between on the pre-roll, the newsletter, um, ad read will be the mid-roll, and then the post-roll will be leave a review. Because if they made it to the end, clearly they liked it, so they should just take the 2 seconds to leave a review.
Yeah.
I think writing a script just helps you make sure you're covering your bases and, makes you feel a little more confident on the recording, especially if it's gonna be something that, like, I'm using is gonna be a dynamic post-read ad, so I'm not reading this as I'm recording, I'm just plopping this in after I've uploaded the episode into Captivate. So that's something to consider.
I would always script that out, personally speaking. I also think that something that touches on that question is related to like the number of CTAs you have like designed. So like to me, I think at any given point, I would personally cap my number of CTAs because typically they're connected to an opt-in or an offer or something that I'm uh, sharing with my audience, and so I don't want to dilute that experience with that offer. So I'm trying to be like right now I have a membership, I have a newsletter, and then typically I have a thing I'm selling. It's 3 things. That's it. And I think moving forward, that's pretty much going to be it. It'll be easier for my audience to kind of differentiate between the 3 things. Get to whichever opt-in I'm trying to move them towards. But if you've got like 7 different affiliates you're working with and 3 different projects and 2 programs and da da da, it's too much. So I would say like really think about the capacity of your audience to remember all the things, and it's very low. So it's very low, and so keep it simple for you and keep it simple for them, but I would absolutely script that out.
Yeah, you don't want them to be in decision purgatory, right? You want them to be able to have a clear line, clear consumer journey to where you want them to go.
The only thing I will say, going back to what Corey was mentioning around templates, that is one reason why I left Substack because I was tired of like, let me go back to this newsletter where I use this format because I want to use it again. It was a hot mess on Beehive. I'm able to create templates. And in my footer is actually where I put a lot of my affiliate links. Um, and that has actually been it's been much better received that way for some odd reason. And then I never have to worry about forgetting to have
I like
something
how
there
you have
formatted.
your links at the bottom like that.
I might have to rethink my strategy with Beehive because what I did was I just created drafts and I just have it like this is a template on the draft and you just fill in your header. So
You can save them as templates on Beehive. So you can save
Did
newsletter
not like
templates.
Beehive at the end, guys, but I feel like that's a conversation off of Substack. I feel like to have a true conversation around those tools, I would wanna have it elsewhere. So we'll just, you know, just, you know. Um,
I wish I could do what Tyrone does. Jeez.
no, you're not being weird, Tyrone, you're being smart, you
Yeah,
give
that's
details.
some discipline right there.
So Tyrone Alexander Norwood says, I thought I was being wired because I script everything and then set up a storyboard that's above my screen and leave room for freestyling.
I think you meant weird,
Oh, I thought he meant wired,
not
like
weird.
like wired different, or like
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Sheesh, Mike is just throwing shots.
Yeah.
Even
Um,
if I mean, there's truth in that. There's truth in that.
no. So Michael Motley says, I try to write my script around a high school reading level because that's the reading level of most adults. Honestly, that's too high. It's actually a 6th grade reading level. So you probably need to dumb it down a
Slow
little
it
bit
down.
more. Yeah. No
I just
no offense to anybody in the comment section, I'm just
I
being
need
honest
figuring
with you.
out, and you can learn with me, or you learn. Christina, I don't know what's happening.
I think that's one of those black acronyms things that you see people going around doing
Oh.
content on.
Michael says, "I was trying to be nice." We don't need you to be nice, we need you to be clear for everybody who's listening to your stuff.
Oh, that's hilarious. Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I had a good last couple of days. I, like, soaked in the hot tub. It was great.
Yeah, she came back refreshed, that's the problem.
Yeah.
She ain't working
I
out.
was coughing all day, so I'm feeling good,
And she
finally.
has nice weather, so
Ugh.
it ain't like here where it's been like 10 degrees every day.
I had to go to the cold weather, guys. Uh,
Are there any themes you guys are looking forward to this year, besides, the one we're currently in?
that's a good that's a good question. I mean, I feel like the fall of democracy is a good one, but that's loaded with a lot of, like, tension. Uh, I don't
I'm
like
not a
that, by the
political
way.
creator, so I'm not even touching that one.
You don't have to be a political creator to touch that one. You just have to be living in US.
That's not not having a political standpoint is being political, so
It is, it is. Oh, I have one, I'm just not sharing. Well, no, I do sometimes, but, like,
Uh,
it's random.
you know what? Actually, I feel like, this one Angela would resonate with, and we touched on it a little bit. I feel like there's a lot of, like, energy behind women's sports, like, more than I've ever seen, and so I feel like there's a theme somewhere in that energy that people could really, like, explore and talk about. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, so based on our private meeting yesterday, um, I reached out to someone who's been on the Melanin MVB podcast, who hosts their own podcast.
Oh,
And so we're meeting up tomorrow to talk about doing some dedicated live streams around March Madness, which is a really big season for college basketball and unrivaled because who knows if we're going to get a WNBA season at this point, honey. So um, those two are really cool. There's also just like really interesting seasons around women's sports. So in July is typically when both the WNBA and the NWSL take like a little break, almost like a mid-season break. Um, the WNBA has All-Star Weekend during that break, and the NWSL just like has a break. I honestly don't know what they do. I think they just chill because they be running like miles, across the field. So yeah, so those will be some interesting times. Of course, the playoffs are also for the WNBA and the NWSL are also around the same time, October, November timeframe for both of those. Um, and yes, I think for sports, there's a lot of opportunities to take advantage of the energy that's around there. The PWHL has been just like selling out everywhere. I think their championships are around the end of May, beginning of June. Um, and that runs right into Global Running Day. So I am doing something for Global Running Day. It's pretty popular time. It's during the summer, good energy. People are outside. They're coming out of their like winter depression. So it's a good time for people to be active. So yeah, so there's a lot of um, things around that. And those are just things that I know. I know like Sunday is what the Super Bowl. That's like some people's, biggest social event of the year. And like they're really excited. So there's a lot of opportunities to just take advantage of different moments, not just like the ones that are on the calendar, but like ones that are really relevant to whatever your niche is. Um, Tyrone Alexander Norris says, I'm too politically pro black and I'm very vocal. I have a problem with televised sports. Interesting. What's your problem with televised sports? Stephanie Graham says, Hi, hey girl, how you doing? My favorite season is March Madness. Women's girl. Clock in with me.
March Madness on both sides is really good. It's exciting. I like watching, like, especially when UConn had their run. I definitely liked watching that.
You know the sport that I feel like is way underrated that I've become addicted to that it's so much fun?
Darts?
Professional lacrosse. What was that?
Darts.
Yeah. Professional lacrosse. It's fast. It's really fast. There's music the whole time. The crowd is really fun. So they're like anytime there's a point, people are like, whatever, excited. It is so much fun. So if you ever get a chance to go to a professional lacrosse game, I'm serious, like go. I don't understand why it's so much fun. A lot of cowbell. But actually there are other themes I want to talk about. I write romances. Okay, so I'm about to get back in my romance bag. And right now,
I was wondering
actually,
what some of your books are.
hardly, anyway, hardly surprising is no, I won't. There's a lot of energy behind dark romance and dystopian romance. So they're really good. So you could do a whole like type of, you know, series around that topic. You could read a whole bunch of books and review them if you have a podcast or, a website or what have you. There's a lot of different ways you could oh yeah, I want to totally check that out. You could review, reflect, or share a different theme that's happening within the space that you're in. You're rewatching it? You're not watching the first or this current season?
Yeah, I'm rewatching the current season, so the first 4 episodes of season 4.
I haven't even gotten to that yet.
You are behind, child,
That
talking
means
about some
that
dark
means no
romance.
way is Lifetime Movie Network even remotely considered dark romance. No. Lifetime is the polar opposite of dark romance.
Well, it depends on your perspective. Usually for guys, it's dark romance.
Oh my god. What about you, Corey? Like, what themes are you thinking about that we haven't, like, touched on?
Oh, something that I think we're gonna be doing, either with the newsletter or probably with the newsletter. And I didn't realize it till somebody told me about it. But it's crazy because being in New York, I should know these things. But the month of August is typically a time where a lot of I can't remember if she told me if it's Caribbean countries or African nations got a lot of their independence. So there's a lot of celebrations between July and August for that, and I think that's gonna be a theme we're gonna be we're trying to figure out, like, how to celebrate content creators from those spaces during that time period. So, like, there's things out here that you didn't even know that you can turn into a theme, right? Like, there's opportunities to see, like, "Oh, this is an opportunity to bring light to this particular space that normally most people didn't even think about or recognize." So I think that's what makes, like, the Labor Day celebration here in New York such a big thing because there's a lot of celebration for independence for a lot of people during that time period.
I got distracted because I just noticed that Stephanie hosts Lifetime movie parties, and I've got questions. They sound fun, and I wish I was in your town where I know you are so I could go. Um,
She's in Chicago.
I know she is in Chicago, but
I
I
mean,
didn't
shoot,
blurt
I
her
just
Chicago
I
out.
blew up her spot. My bad,
Yeah,
Stephanie. I didn't mean to do that.
sorry. I was trying to be all subtle.
My bad.
Oh, I'm surprised that Corey didn't bring up Puerto Rico this whole week. I've seen so many
For
people
me,
be like,
Puerto Rico celebration happens in June, but,
"No, no," but this is the whole point. It doesn't have to just be in June. That's the whole point of our conversation. So this
I
week
mean,
is
yeah,
Puerto Rico.
I think everybody's making a bigger deal than what it is because this is
But the thing is
not a new precedent.
but you know what? Okay, so the other day, Cardi B was on SNL, and there was a lot no, this is important though, and there was a lot of conversation around the dancers that she chose to be, she did what's the Boricua no, Bodega Batty is the song that I think is the name of the song, and she had 2 distinctly Black Latinas dancing with her, and there was a lot of conversation on Threads about from Afro Latinas being like, "We can't believe that she picked these ladies to be on the stage with her for this song specifically, as well as the costuming." And I know, like, sometimes these little things are big things to other people is my point. And so I think that no, it's not a president, but maybe this is really exciting moment for someone to speak in Spanish, which shouldn't be a big deal, on a world stage with hundreds of millions of other folks across the world who speak Spanish and understand what this person is about to say. So I just think it's a bigger deal than maybe it feels like. Also, you live in New York, right? You live in a really, 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 really diverse
I wanna
place.
I I I
Yeah,
I think
but this
I
goes
think
back to the disdain for these themed months,
but hold
right?
on, I think I wanna correct something though because what a lot of people I think it's an American thing with the Spanish part
Mhm. I
because no, hold on, because salsa and merengue and stuff was was big and still is big
Mhm,
outside of America, like in places like Africa and other
mhm,
countries. So where they speak Spanish, so people know the Spanish. So it's like, and that's I think that's one reason why I'm not so hyped about this weekend because I'm like I know it's on a bigger outside of the U.S. that has tends to take big things and try to make it minimal because
mhm,
sixth grade reading levels. We'll just leave it at that. They don't a lot of Americans don't have a worldview, which is what the hype is about it, but I guess part of it too is I'm in New York, my family's half my family's from Puerto Rico,
mhm.
it's kinda like I'm in it, so I'm not really thinking of it, but the real sense of pride for Puerto Ricans and the theme that's what is June. So it's like that's what that's our time and to celebrate and to be happy and to do that. Now Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, yeah, that's cool. I'm all for it. Like, I hope he brings out bomba. I hope he brings out, all the elements of Puerto Rico and gives a platform to it. Since he's been on this path that he's been on. But I'm just like, okay, I'm not excited as everybody else is. But I'm plus also as a football fan, I hate the halftime show. I don't care who's performing. I want to watch football.
But I have a question. Are you talking about Puerto Rico Day specific to New York City, or is that
No, it
Rican
was so the
general?
history of it was the one in New York City was a big one for which became the day, like, nationally, like, that's I mean, there's other places that celebrate their pride, but everything's usually correlated around New York City's because it was what was the first one, and that's where the majority of Puerto Ricans were in America for a very long time. Do they have carnival? Not that I know of. They have their own like, different areas have different celebrations because it's so that's a whole 'nother conversation, but, they don't have a carnival like they do in, like, Trinidad and, in the other Caribbean islands, but they have their own celebrations. I guess carnival for Puerto Ricans would be the New York City parade because that's how it happens.
I wanna bring up something that I thought about as you were talking about this, which is Juneteenth. And I think it would really shock a lot of people to hear that Denver has a huge, huge Juneteenth celebration, and we've had one since, like, the '50s, like a formal one since 1950s, and it's because, a lot of, like, Black Denver families have Texas roots and vice
Yeah, the
versa,
proximity,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, the families kinda and so it was really shocking to me that, when I went to college out east in New York State, that people didn't know what Juneteenth was. Like, it was really like, I didn't understand outside of my lived experience in my state that this wasn't a thing everywhere. So I think this is the other part too, like, um, we live in a really big country that not everyone's exposed to everything, right? And so I'm thinking that, like, all Black people understand what Juneteenth is. Like, we have this thing, we go to this parade, we like it's a big deal. And then people are like, "What is June?" Especially out east, "What is Juneteenth? What is this about?" Well, I live by Texas. Of course, I'm going to know about that. No, no, Tyrone. But that's good to know because this is the first time we've used this. You- s-
Oh,
No one said that before, so that's good to know. Um, so I just, the reason why I brought that all this up, like with these uh themed opportunities is also what Corey's expressed, which is kind of like a little bit of an exasperation as well. And that goes back to my original point earlier in our conversation about Black History Month, where where I expressed frustration, where people are just like jumping on the bandwagon at the last minute. You know,
Yeah,
like, why are you excited? Like, this is just our thing. So it's something to think
yeah.
about.
I think, I think it's that looking at themes is a great opportunity to educate people, to connect people, to bring light to stuff. Like I like the like Dominic's podcast, Black is America, right? The theme
Mhm.
of that, of which he shows like how like everyday people were pivotal had pivotal moments in American history that most people didn't even know about, and he uses that theme to bring to light amazing stories of Black people throughout the history of America who've done these things, and it's like, "Wow, I didn't even know this," and then you go down that rabbit hole to learn more, and then you become more educated, more connected, and then you start realizing then your perspective starts to change on things too, right? Like, you're like, I wanna see if I can find more stuff like this." I find myself sometimes sending him like, "Yo, did you know about this story? Like, this might be something you might wanna use down the road." Like, because I started, I started seeing things a little bit differently. So I like that. I think as a content creator, I don't wanna say it's a low lift, but I think it's a good, especially if you're struggling and you might hit a creative block or creative wall in regards to your content. I think they're a really great way to help you, bring some more, to find something to talk about, but also to bring a value and help change the perspective of your audience and give them, and influence them in ways that they may not have expected.
I like themes. I like themes, but I don't like necessarily, like, people telling me what my theme should be, right? So, like, maybe, you know, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Trekkie. So maybe I decide that, there's a theme within Star Trek that I'm just gonna explore for the rest of the year and, like, somehow zhuzh it so it makes sense to the brand that I'm building, right? So you don't have to follow the theme that some person set. You could just set your own theme. You can just do what you want. Tyrone's like, "What is happening? This is how we are, Tyrone." Also, I've had a lot of coffee, so, you know, that's how we do it.
Tyrone, you get used to it. We tend to have a subject, and then the conversation tends to evolve.
Yeah. And we only have an hour, to Angela's point, so we try to, like, get a lot in. We get excited. Um, so yeah, like, create your own theme. Like, maybe there's one out there that you're like, "Damn, I wish someone would talk about this." And why aren't you the one to talk about this? Why aren't you that person? You know?
Really quick, one of my
Like, where
favorite
where's Kamala in the conversation? Where's Kamala and Obama? Like, that kinda conversation?
Kamala, Kamala, get her
Um,
name right. Damn. Shit.
I'm American. I pronounce it how I write it, okay? I'm American.
Mike
Kamala.
Michael has a comment, that I wanna read, but I also wanna share one of my favorite quotes from, some a Black business that I saw on MLK Day, and the post was, "There's a white person who's gonna wonder if it's performative to go to a Black-owned coffee shop today, but if you go today and keep going for the rest of your life, we'll never know." And so I think, like so and I think that, like, that should be the energy that we take into this, like, is it performative? Well, if you make it a habit and a part of your life, we'll never know, babes, and even on the content creator side, it's like, is it performative to do this for Black History Month? Well, if you do it every day throughout the year, every time you post, you centering Black voices, women voices, underrepresented voices, we'll never know, babes. How about that? So, yeah. Michael's comment, he says, "I've been trying to inject an agency and a pattern interrupt so that people see Black folks in a completely different way." I love that for you.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, you know what,
Lucia, I feel like I should know you. I don't know, but thank you for joining us. We happy you're here. Thank you.
Michael, I like that because I think people tend to think, despite everything and that people keep thinking that we're monolithic, and we have so many cultures and subcultures and, that make up the Black experience, both here in America and in diaspora. I like the idea of being disruptive where you try to interrupt the patterns and stuff so that people don't get comfortable with, relying on those themes, right? Like, like how all Black people like certain things or act a certain way and all that stuff. So I like that idea, and I think we should probably practice that a little bit more in our content as well.
Mm. How do you plan on doing that with yours
Me?
moving? Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm doing it already with the newsletter. One of the things I wanted to, so like with the newsletter, we represent the Canadian voices, right? They have a specific culture view out there that, we gave platform to Black Canadian creators, that community on our platform. I've been I've been screaming at the top of my lungs behind the scenes, so if anybody in the chat is interested, please reach out to me. I wanna highlight more about our Caribbean voices. I hate using this term because the term Latino is rooted the whole Spanish thing is rooted in African culture, but the Latino Afro Latino side of things, so we can platform that. I'm trying to form some partnerships with some of our brethren and sister in Africa and give more platforms to their voices. So to show because I always when I started the BPA, one of my chief things was we have an opportunity with this new medium called podcasting to have conversations amongst ourselves to bridge these gaps that colonialism created, and also, to heal those some of those wounds of the segregation and the different stereotypes and the back and forth like we've been seeing the past couple of days on threads about who gets to celebrate Black history and all that stuff. So, like, I feel like this is a medium, and I think the content creation space in itself is a medium because it's so hard to gatekeep.
Mm.
Right. To have these conversations and have these challenging, dialogues amongst ourselves so that we can see that we have more in common than we do I don't know what the word is, but uncommon. So I was gonna say discommon. It's late. It's been a long day, but, I try to use my platforms and the community to try to to bridge these gaps and show people. I wanna platform, more LGBTQ voices, plus voices on our platform. I try to find a s trying to create a space where all of our voices can be heard and learned from and, and be shared and uplift as many people in the space that I feel are, like, really doing great work and giving different perspectives on what they're doing in this space.
I think what you, are touching on is really at the heart of actually the whole conversation, which is intentional content design. So, for me, I'm intentional to the point where um, I'm very particular about the pictures that are on like my website because I understand that not everyone's going to have people who look like me on their website, right? We have Meta removing memes and gifs or whatever that have black faces. Like it's like a thing that's happening. So I'm very intentional about the visuals that I put on my platform. I'm very intentional about who I speak with. I'm very intentional. So it might not seem like it to you, but for me, like those are very like intentional decisions around brand design, and so I'm always trying to make sure that, that if you were to look at what I'm doing, the persons who should be excited to be there will get that vibe, you know? And it's been working so far. Like the people that have been attracted to the work that I do, who sign up, that kind of thing, have been pretty consistently people that I'm really excited to be in community with. But that's because I think I'm intentional about how I talk about things. I'm intentional about the content that I curate. I'm intentional about who I invite as a guest into the space. I'm intentional about the books. Like if I'm sharing books, who are the books that I'm sharing? None of it is accidental on my end because there are other people who are so intentional about erasing me and mine. So I'm being very, very like, does that mean everything I do is a certain way? No. But I'm very intentional about, how I do things so that at least I know I've put in my best effort, to make sure that I'm seen, that you guys are seen, that the people that I'm excited to be in community with are seen. Um, and yeah, so by the way, if you guys could share this live because we have 2 more people who could join us to hit 100, that would make our day.
Oh,
That would make
wow, another okay, I
so
think we're
yeah, so on the right hand, of your screen, at the bottom of of your screen, you could share that, that would be awesome. Hopefully, we can get an additional 2 people to join in so that we can hit 100 people. Wait, what?
Stephanie, to answer your question, I'll answer. She asked,
She
"What do you?"
said no she said you don't need to answer during Black History Month.
Yeah,
She
you
said
know
it's
what? It's okay. I don't know
I
what's
think we
happening.
do.
What? What's
okay,
happening?
go for it.
I'll answer that any time of year.
I
Go
don't
I mean,
for
know.
it.
what I was gonna say was I know she came into the conversation late because we kinda were talking about that early in the conversation about the performative aspects of certain themes and stuff, so I'll just say performative. That's what I'll say.
Wait, but I missed it because this happened when I was talking, so I don't know what's happening.
She asked, "What do we think about white folks always using black folks on their website?"
Oh, yeah, that's performative. I mean, like, that's pretty easy. I if let's put it this way, if you bring if you have people as a visual aid, but you're never gonna work with them, that's performative, don't bother. Like, don't do it. We clock it so fast. So, if you're working with people all year long, you're in community. You know what? You know what's not performative? And this is the funniest example I'm gonna give. Nick Nick from, Nick and Olandria. He's interesting because the other day he was about to get interviewed by the Shade Room, and he was like, "No, Satan, you will not trick me." And I was like, he understands a lot more than we think. So my point is this: if you are just kinda showing up and you're just like, "Hey, I'm gonna work with, like, these different types of people." You could be Black, by the way, doing this. You could be Asian, whoever you are. And you're just like, "We're gonna just work with you for, like, whatever that month is, that's your month." Okay. Um, and then you forget about them. We clock that, we pay attention. So, 100% that's performative. If you're gonna be performative, save your time and energy, 'cause we'll it's don't waste your time. Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Do not do it. Who's Aries?
That's why so she's a great chef out here in New York.
Okay, see, New York has all the good things. Okay, all the good things.
Coach
1
Ty
and
keeping us
3.
honest, baby. Let's go.
Thanks to
3.
everybody. That's 2 weeks in a row, 100 plus.
Woo!
Thank you guys, man.
Yeah.
So, you know why we're so excited about this besides the fact that that's a lot of people to hang out with? We've spent a year working towards this number, and, it was very humbling to have 3 of us bringing our different audiences, and sometimes I never said this to them, sometimes I'd be like, "Damn, like, we're bringing it, we have such good, conversations, like, where are the people?" The people who were there were amazing, but it was like, "Where are the people?" Like, is the platform showing our like, what's going on? And so this makes me very excited because we worked really hard to get to this number. Just saying. Just saying.
Michelle, can you see the chat at all?
Yes, I'm looking at it, I think it's hilarious.
That's
Okay.
right.
But
You're
there's a
worldwide.
part we're not doing it. Angela.
I'm not saying to say where you are. Eris volunteered the information, so clearly we don't
Right.
care if somebody show up at our doorstep. That's just what
See?
I'm getting from the
It's a
conversation.
New York thing, man. You're in New York, you represent. I'm Brooklyn, Queens, whatever. New York City. You're out
You know
here.
what? I feel like there's a trip I need to get back to New York sometime this year. It's clear.
Well,
I mean,
I was waiting on Corey to say something. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to come see you.
crazy.
I was hoping to have some news today, to about that, but, that it got postponed to the end of the week, so I'll probably have some news about it next week, and
Oh,
then we can plan a group trip, and I mean everybody in the chat as well as whoever wants to come out to New York for what we're putting together.
oh,
Um, so I'll have more details. Hopefully, knock on wood, I'll have more details next week.
oh.
Man said, "Big Brooklyn." Listen,
Right.
I'm not about to mess with
You gotta get to the block first.
y'all.
I don't know if you wanna stay with me, Stephanie.
Excuse me.
I'm in the boondocks in Queens. I'm in a two-fare zone. Takes hour and a half
Listen.
to get certain parts of the city, so
Lord.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yo, well, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We've been going live for a little over an hour,
Yes.
almost an hour and 5 minutes with 105 people. That's what I'm talking about. This, this is what we mean when we say we're kicking off Black History Month with you guys. So thank you guys for joining us. I think we're going to introduce ourselves for the people who came in late. and then we will sign off until next Tuesday. Michelle, take it away.
By the way, next Tuesday, I will take it away, but next Tuesday, we will be talking about lead magnets. Okay. So just, like file that in your brain. You'll probably forget about it. We will announce that we're talking about it, but we're going to be talking about lead magnets. So my name is Michelle Jackson. I run Creators Getting Paid. My goal is to help creators build their list to protect their brands primarily off of social media. So that is what I do. I also run a um, a membership that I've launched called the Creator Income Collective. That is quietly behind the scenes. If you have questions, let me know. If you're coming to Colorado, check out my website and podcast, Square State Colorado, squarestateco.com. And thank you again so much, all 106 of you, for spending time with us. Again, do please share the live. It helps to get in front of people after we're done. Ori.
My name is Corey Gums. I am the founder of the Black Podcast Association, and I run a newsletter right here on Substack called blackpodnews.com or blkpodnews.com. I want to say thank you to everybody for making our second week back successful with over 100 of you guys joining us. And if you did just join us, make sure you follow all of us here on Substack as well as subscribe to our newsletters. You will not be disappointed.
Okay, I guess I'm wrapping it up. My name is Angela. I write the Please Hustle Responsibly newsletter, and I host the Honey and Hustle podcast. You can check those out here on Substack. And thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Okay, so how do you end this one here? Oh, there it goes.